Hi, everybody. Welcome to today's episode of the Search Engine Journal Show. I'm Loren Baker, founder of SEJ. And with me today, very happy to have Fabrice Canel of Bing on. Hey, Fabrice,
Hello,
how's it
everybody.
going?
Doing great. Ready for the holidays.
I
I'm in
know,
Washington
right?
State. It's cold, raining, and so I want to take a break. Yes.
A nice little break. It's gonna be great. It's cold and rainy down here in Southern California as well. So a little bit upset because what we pay in taxes is supposed to pay for sunshine and 75-degree weather every day. So anyway, it's a pleasure to have you on. Just to inform any watchers or listeners, we usually do our SEJ show on Friday around lunchtime Pacific Standard. Last week my internet went out, so we ended up rescheduling, and it's always a good experiment to see how things pick up when we are airing live, because we do our live video feed, which is distributed on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and if we're lucky, LinkedIn. And then we take the audio and share it via our audio podcast as well. So let's see how many people show up today, Fabrice, with this surprise show in their feed. So before we get started, could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, I'm soon 25 years at Microsoft. So there for a very long time, really enjoying what I'm doing. My role really at Bing is to discover the internet content, select the best content on the internet, downloading and processing it. If your site is missing from Bing, I used to say that please send me an email. Do not do that. But I've got this responsibility really of having a copy of the internet for Bing. And Bing Webmaster Tools is also somehow as part of my scope of responsibility. So this is all the abilities to get content to help us to collect the internet content.
And as a refresher for our audience, besides Bing, what other search engines or search, I guess, sites utilize Bing Webmaster Tools for URL discoverability?
So Bing is powering a range of solutions worldwide, but this is Yahoo. There is all kind of quant in France and all kind of solution powered by Bing. You can find the list. I can list you to the whole list. But yeah, this is more than Bing. This is all this kind of search solution today that is out there are mostly all of them leveraging Bing to power their solution.
Great, great. So Bing is important than just Bing, and forgive me if I'm wrong, but the big ones are Bing, at least in the US, Bing, Yahoo, and DuckDuckGo, correct?
Yeah,
That
absolutely.
utilize.
Yes.
Okay, great, great. So this is incredibly relevant to anybody that's getting traffic from Bing, which is all of you, and Yahoo, which is all of you, and DuckDuckGo, which is kind of the whole privacy search component. It seems to be the future of search. So really relevant for everybody. And then not too long ago, there was an announcement put out. Well, you've been testing the I'm sorry, what's the official name of the API? The
IndexNow's API or the
yes,
Bing Webmaster Tool API. So
yes, the Bing Webmaster Tools API for URL inclusion, which is now IndexNow, correct?
absolutely, yeah. So the story is that, in fact, it's not something completely new. This is years ago in the early days of search engine. You have the ability to ping the search engine to notify search engine about, hey, I've got an URL out there. And this was mostly used by spammer in the early days. They were easy to ping, hey, I've got a new spam site and spam URL out there. And so kind of a search engine have kind of little discarded this ability to be notified. At Bing and early days of Windows Live Search, I found that it was an interesting way to learn about content on sites. Not only about added content, but also about updated content and deleted content. Let's take the example of your power issue last week and outage, internet outage. Who knows?
Okay.
My machine learning system no clue. I don't know what's happening in your house. I don't know if you have power outage. So you know. And they says, really, you can be in control of notifying the search engine about, hey, something happened, something new, something updated. My system simply can scale to some limits, but you, as a webmaster, as owner of the content, can really tell me about what changed on your site. And so what we did years ago is that we started to have a Bing Webmaster Tool API, allowing us to discover in a trusted way where you need to sign up, having an account in Bing Webmaster Tool, and tell us what changed on your site. And we found it very useful. We found it that it was a great way to get latest content on plenty of sites. We have a lot of top sites that have adopted as eBay, LinkedIn, and many others. And many also small sites have adopted the solution, and we were very happy about it. So I came up with the idea of IndexNow. What is IndexNow is really this next step of having webmaster be able to notify us about change on their website, but in a trusted way. Mean that this is all about you tell us, and we know that this is you that tell us about the change because you come up with your own key and notify the API about what changed on your site. And it's an easy way to ping us. There is no need to register in Bing Webmaster Tool thing. This is you just provide the key and we go to verify the key. This is a solution that is open to all search engines. It's not only Bing, it's also Yandex and future search engines that are coming. Most, if not all, big search engines are coming in adopting IndexNow by 2022. So this will be a great way to notify all search engines about all content change on the internet, helping really search engine to discover your changes on your site, helping the whole industry to get their content index fast.
So just to recap, early on in the days of search and internet marketing, people were able to ping search engines. Hey, I have a new page. Hey, I have this. Hey, I have that. But it was obviously abused by SEOs and spammers, right?
True.
Now things have kind of come full circle because you're giving website owners the ability to ping Bing and other engines that utilize IndexNow, but it's through a verified key, right? So you know it's someone, you know who they are, you know they're verified with Bing Webmaster Tools. Chances are, if they're verified with Bing Webmaster Tools, they're also verified with Google Search Console. They have a track record. It's not just a site that's launched or made up. You have to go through a round of verification on that end. And so for all of these years, right, in order for Bing or another search engine to discover new pages, were you relying specifically on the crawler to do so, or were there any other ways to notify for new pages beforehand?
Yeah, so the crawler so far was the most common way for all search engine to discover content change on the internet. This was a pull mechanism where you go to visit the homepage, to visit the sitemap, to visit the RSS feed, to visit all the content that we have previously discovered, to try to find new links or to discover if the content has changed. So you have to, did you change? Did you change? Did you change? Lot of useless requests to discover if the content has changed or not. Here we are changing the game, providing the ability for a website to tell search engine what changed on the site. Instead of pulling, this is all about you pushing the information to one search engine, and the search engine will share information between them to tell, hey, I discover that someone has changed something on the site, and the crawler will go to visit this content. So it's a change of paradigm. This is instead of crawling and crawling and crawling, lot of useless content because the content didn't change. This is helping us to discover that the content has changed, helping us to minimize crawl requests moving forward as we learn about these content changes. So it's good for the industry because it helps you to get the content quickly indexed. It helps you also to minimize the cost of crawling on your site, which everybody, I think, will appreciate.
Very good, very good. So I have some questions about that. But first, I'd like to go ahead and thank our sponsor, SEMrush, for making today's show possible. So this is not coffee right now because it is 12 o'clock, but I am enjoying a nice iced tea in my SEMrush mug. So thank you to the team at SEMrush. And thank you, Fabrice, for making this happen, because this is really exciting for me. Not just with Index Now, but it seems like there is, to paraphrase you, a paradigm shift going on in the world of search, where it's less of depending upon the crawler to visit things over and over again. And anyone that's gone and looked at the crawl stats within Search Console or other tools can see the amount of times either Google or other engines, or other crawlers are hitting the site, hitting 404 errors numerous times, hitting redirects numerous times, et cetera, on that end. So now we have the ability to instantly alert the engine and let them know what's new. And then do you crawl after that alert happens?
Yeah, absolutely. We come to visit to learn about the type of change. Is it a add, update, or delete? Is it a meaningful change or not? So we have the experience of many months of IndexNow and before Bing Webmaster Tool. We see that people in general do the right thing. We see that some people do often notify us too much, notify us not enough. And so we are developing the feedback loop to tell them about what should be a meaningful notification to your sites. It's at the end, it's this is the future. This is we just started. We see a lot of adoption from some top sites and some CDN, content development network, and delivery network, and some content management system that are starting to onboard on IndexNow. So this is like sitemaps. It will take a month to adopt, but yes, we do believe that there is a path toward most of the industry, 75% or 80% adopting IndexNow by 2022. And so this is, we see really interest and adoption, not only because Bing, Yandex support IndexNow already now, but because there is also other search engine that announce that or are working to support IndexNow in the following month.
Got you. And another thing that's excited me about the paradigm shift of feeds and alerting the engine is the fact that you have so many partners that you've rolled IndexNow out with. So right before IndexNow's announcement came out, Cloudflare made an announcement about Google signed exchanges, where instead of going through all of the, I guess, challenges that sometimes you may face working with development teams or websites or things like that, as long as you have Cloudflare access, you can basically go in and turn it on literally with the flick of a toggle switch. And that's happening with IndexNow now as well. So in addition to the feed component, you've also really lowered that barrier of entry to utilizing this tool set. Cloudflare is a partner, and I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, you're also working with various search tools and crawlers as well. Could you go over how that partnership works and then some of the partners that you have on that side?
Yeah, we'll cover that. So if you look at the internet is a set of sites from, let's say, Facebook. This is the biggest sites to a lot of smaller sites. And you can look at really trying to drive adoption for each and every site on the internet. And this will take you forever. So yes, some big sites will adopt IndexNow because they love it. This is minimizing crawl load on the site. Great story for them, and they're working on it. And often they have proprietary solution. So this is, they are managing their own content management system, their own content delivery network. This is really proprietary solution. So them, this is, they do the work to adopt IndexNow because there is nobody else that can do the work. This is for them to adopt IndexNow. But then you have your friend's website that, set up a website for family things, and they don't really know about search engine things. So this is just for them. It's not, they don't are developer, they don't know what we are talking about in terms of search engine optimization and things like that. So to enable them to have really a rich website index in search engine, this is all about, at the end, pushing the industry to adopt IndexNow. So what is the industry? Is this people use often content management system to manage their website, WordPress, Shopify, and all solution that is on the market to manage their website. So we are collaborating with content management system to have them adopting IndexNow in order that when content is added, updated, deleted, then the notification goes to the search engine and people are aware of a change in search engine. All search engines are aware of the content change. Next is content delivery network, Cloudflare, Akamai, others that provide a layer on the top of search engine and website, between the search engine and website, to tell, oh, this content has been cached, has been updated, added, deleted, and notify the search engine if these things are happening. As you said, for Cloudflare, this is very trivial. If you have a site on Cloudflare, you just have to go to the Cloudflare console and enable this notification. And this is, yeah, we get notified at Bing, Yandex, and other search engine coming will be notified. So it's easy to adopt, no code required. As no code will be required for content management system, this will be built in, and you will enable this functionality by default. And yes, for top sites and your own content management system, if you have one and develop one, yes, you have to do the work of adopting IndexNow. But IndexNow is super easy to adopt.
Yeah.
It's just you set up your own key on the site. You store the key like a robust text file. This is just a text file that is hosted on the site. And you just do this ping request, and we go to verify the key. No API complex auth require, no registration needed in Bing Webmaster Tools, Google Search Console, Yandex, and others. You just set up and send a ping, and then search engine are notified. Very easy to adopt. Very trivial things to do. Simple ping, but it's a ping with a key. We come to verify that you own this website and URLs.
Got you. It's very cool. It's very cool. Yeah. I didn't realize that Akamai's in the list as well. So that's pretty amazing. And then one thing that you brought up that I think is very important, especially this time of year, especially for e-commerce oriented sites, is that this is not just about addition. It's also about subtraction, correct?
So subtraction and update. Think about a price update for Thanksgiving, holiday, Black Friday, and so on. These sites are keep changing, and they will adjust to the price of other website. And obviously, people that are searching online search for the best price or best offer or best benefit. The comments of user and all these things that matter really to be that people are searching for. And so this is all about providing the latest information to search engine, and search engine can make their own decision about should we index this, yes, no. Obviously, it's not to trick. It's not to update every 5 seconds the same URL and change the cent, 99, 98, and so on. This is really about meaningful change that come to the search engine.
Great. So I'm thinking about this from a blog post perspective, so forgive me, but here are the benefits for e-commerce sites that IndexNow can provide. One, when a new product is listed, we ping the search engine immediately. Search engine updates the new product. Two, when a product is out of stock or taken off the site, pings the search engine immediately. Product is taken off of the search engine, right? So no one's finding it by accident and going to a, hey, we're sold out page or something like that. That's dated. And three, which what you brought up sounds like it's even as or more powerful than both of the above, is that pricing changes. So as soon as I change the price on the page itself, it sounds like that will ping the search engine, and the search engine will verify and then update the price listing within schema markup or any other markups that are in the search results too. Am I on the correct page here?
So this is this key scenario about added, updated, or deleted content, helping the search engine to discover these changes at scale on the internet. At the end is search engine are aware of this notification and can make their own decision about what to fetch. But versus the flow of information that is coming from and not knowing what changed on the site, and just we are poking to explore, and we are pulling and pulling to see if something is changed, or rely on sitemaps. Yeah, this is kind of once a day process. Here at the end, you have a large scale ability to notify search engine about what changed on the site.
Also, who has their priorities set up in sitemaps correctly anyway, right?
Yes,
So
and
very
last modified
seldom do I
date.
see.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
I see.
last modified date is something we want to change the text on sitemaps.org. Do not set
Mm.
it to the time the sitemap is generated. This is all about the destination content. It's not about the time the sitemap is generated. Please.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you heard it right here. Make sure that your date modified or time modified on your XML sitemaps is actually the date and time that it was done on the page, right? Because I see this happen all the time. And I also see it where it's all like the same exact priority
Yeah.
all the way down.
Yes.
They modified all the way down. So
Yeah.
if everything's a priority, then nothing is a priority, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Not only in real life, but also with engines as well. So yeah, so that's a good call. Get the sitemaps in order, but also IndexNow setup is very instant. And the pricing thing is really interesting to me because, as I'm sure you know, Google Shopping rolled out their ability to showcase sale pricing and then cross-reference that with the data that's on your page. I'm sure that's part of the Microsoft ecosystem as well. And then getting all of that set up within search results is really huge. So, and then, you know, we don't want people to take advantage of that, right? So just I want to make sure if my price right now is $11.99, say I'm selling a jacket, it's $11.99, I decide to go in and change it to $11.97. Ping, bing. Am I going to go up in the rankings? Is it going to change? What's going to happen there if I'm changing that price?
It depends. It really depends of sites and the importance of the sites, and or when we'll crawl the content or not decide to crawl the content. So the end direction is that yes, every meaningful changes should be taken into account by the system. We see people doing mistakes, notifying too much. So there is a lot of machine learning in play to really learn and benefit of learning what is a meaningful changes. Example of non-meaningful changes is on January at the end, in few days, we will change from 2021 to 2022. What people will do is they will change the copyright here at the bottom of the page, and we see the spike of notification in the API about, yeah, people have changed their page. This is totally useless for search engine. Obviously, this is a date change, this is a number change, but really, this is non-useful. So this is example of notification that are useless. Other notification that is useless is when you slightly change the template of a page. Yeah, this is the content is kind of the same or exactly the same. This is do not notify us if just the template of the page is changing. This is again a lot of URLs that are coming in that are totally in general useless because the core content didn't change. So what we will do is we continue doing is as more search engines are adopting and we see issues like that, this is we will provide FAQ and feedback on the IndexNow about what is a meaningful notification. Just to come back on sitemaps, because often people are asking that, do IndexNow notification and still do the sitemap thing. Why? Because sitemap IndexNow is real time. This is just about notifying us about latest content change on the site. And the search engine or you may miss one update, mean that this is HTTP at scale, this is a lot of requests. We may have downtime, you may have downtime, things may happen all the time. So at the end is we catch up with sitemaps kind of once a day to list all URLs that you have on the site, and the two make us to have a full understanding of the site on a daily basis, which is a good thing to have.
Great, great. Yeah, and a reminder to everybody to update your copyrights next week.
No, yes, do, but not
or
in IndexNow, please.
Yeah, not don't ping Bing about it, and then also like maybe find a dynamic way to do so, so you're not manually doing it.
And don't
year.
change your last modified date in
No,
sitemaps for that.
no.
We see January 1st, all often it's happening too. Yes, for some sites, not all sites.
So you had mentioned that this really helps with crawl budgets, like on the site side, the server side, the CDN side, because the Bing bot isn't hitting the sites over and over again. But how does it help Bing at the end of the day? Like how much resources are being saved on the search side, the search engine side, by not having to continuously crawl or are you still crawling? Like if I sign up for Index Now, are you still crawling the site as often, or is that like once something is signed up with Index Now, do you kind of turn back the dial a little bit?
Yeah, the overall direction is that, yes, we are targeting to really reduce scroll load on all sites that are adopting IndexNow. So there is a lot of machine learning in play to really learn, is it a meaningful to model the sites, to model the understanding of the sites, and really to crawl less the sites. We don't need to discover URLs if you are providing a full visibility of this URL. This says we can learn that not on day one. We have to learn that over time. Typically, of things that we do is over, let's say, 1 month time frame, we will review that all URL we have newly discovered that are good quality are, we get them first from IndexNow. So yes, then we can start dialing down on other what we call discovery techniques to discover all this URL that we have on the site. And we have obviously a lot of discovery techniques from processing the sitemaps to follow links, to start from the home page and to do what we call deep crawl, to really go links by links and to try to get a full view of the site. So again, the end direction is really to remove this scroll that is happening on the internet, which is, I do believe this is unreasonable trends, what's happening this day with search engine. We keep crawling to achieve content freshness. And yes, we should dial down. And IndexNow is a great way to minimize crawl on the internet, to minimize, to save Earth from CO2 warming and all these things, because it will help us to guide us to the good quality content. So we see that on some sites. Clearly, this is helping us, and so yes, we reduce the crawl. And as we go, machine learning will play, will learn, and will reduce the crawl on each and every site that is adopting IndexNow, assuming you do the right things of notifying us about all content changes.
Got you. And also, are there any types of sites that should not use Index Now?
I
Or
do
should
believe
every
that
site?
nearly all sites should adopt IndexNow because it should be built in the backbone of the internet. It should be there. It should be in content management system. It should be in CDN. This is really at the end reducing cost on the internet and giving you money back by transferring more user, by getting more useful content indexed in search engine. This is really guiding us to good quality content that has changed on the site. Think about the volume of crawl that is happening today that is totally unreasonable, I think. And so this is helping us to really guide us to good quality content. And yeah, we really target to have all the industry adopting IndexNow, and we make it easy by having this simple protocol, easy to adopt. Again, no complex of thing that need to be managed over time. It's a simple ping that is secure with a key. That's it. So we do believe that a developer 101 type of thing, the junior developer can really test it in a question of hours and integrate into sites. Depends on the content management system. Some content management systems are really complex that are proprietary, but in general, it should be easy. And again, we are working with the ecosystem to enable this in WordPress and all this content management solution out there.
WordPress, maybe Shopify, BigCommerce, Magento, everything, right? So, yeah, I mean, you use the word backbone. It just really sounds like at the end of the day, Index Now should become part of the internet's infrastructure. And it's a huge paradigm shift, right? Because also, I mean, this is a trend. So we talked about XML sitemaps a little bit. We talked about shopping feeds a little bit. Index Now, which is bigger than both of those. But then also schema markup, right? So, schema markup / structured data, the ability to serve that directly and then to verify it with what's on site. Where do you see all of this going? Are we going to more of a universal feed-driven system and pinging-driven system in search and beyond with overall discovery? Where you get that data first, almost like you would with a pre-render, and then everything is validated after the fact. Almost like, where do you see this going?
So where we are going is we are really trying to fix a customer problem and making webmaster happy, and search engine customer happy. So this is really our core focus. This is to make business successful by getting latest content without crawling too much on sites. So clearly, we have an issue this day. This is to discover content change on the internet. And IndexNow is the solution for this problem. We were having plenty of solutions. We were crawling a lot. We were suggesting a lot of solutions. No, we have one good solution to really notify us about content change. And this is something that is in Loren mind, in Webmaster mind. This is something that is really hard for search engine to model right. We simply don't know that this webcast has been moved from Friday to today. This is, okay, things happen all the time. Product may be delayed, press release may be delayed. We don't know, period. So this, you can tell us when you control your content, you control your destiny. Then this is all about getting the content and processing it. And this, we are smart at this. This is kind of one box where we get the page in, we can process it as we like, we can render it, display it, and we are fine. And that, yes, schema is helping us to discover a little bit more of the page, and you can help our machine learning stack to really understand deeper. Okay, this is the price information, first name, last name, and so on. This is helping us. This is just hint to tell us what the page is all about. So often good things. And then this is about retrieving the content. And then this is really proprietary. We cannot expose all the nodes. We just provide some webmaster guidelines to tell you, oh, Bing, and you have the same in other search engine, are ranking the content. So IndexNow is here to really fix this real-time discovery issues that we were having, to not discover what's happening on the internet, to not be aware of each and every URL on the internet. And so think all the solution as complementary with one goal is really to satisfy, let's say, search engine user and to satisfy webmasters.
Got you. Yeah, I love everything about this. Now I'm reading through the FAQs on IndexNow.org. So for viewers that are currently on Facebook, LinkedIn, whatever, just to let you all know as well, if you have any questions for Fabrice, go ahead and type them in the comment boxes. We'll get them answered. And we've answered a couple that have come through. But I also for any listeners, when we put this out via our audio feed, if you go to IndexNow.org, you see an overview with a pretty robust FAQ section and a design that looks just like schema.org, by the way. So I like that. So if you go to IndexNow.org, you'll see a lot of questions answered and a lot of information about this entire program, or just go to bing.com/indexnow. And there's instructions on how to get set up. So first thing I see on IndexNow.org's FAQ, you have questions. Can I submit 404s, 410s? Can I submit 301 redirects, 302 redirects, meta refreshes? So all of that's fine to submit, right? That's how you learn, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. This is, again, we need at the end, what is the goal? Is to get a fresh copy of your website. This is what you want. This is to get the new, updated, or deleted content. If you have two pages, it's good to know that if one redirect to the other one, it's good to learn this from the search engine. So if A go to B, you publish A and B. Why? Because it's telling us to get the ranking juice that is coming to A, going to B. So any change on the internet, on your site, please tell us, because then we can go to visit and learn that A go to B. So whatever go to A, no go to B, great story to help us ranking B at top position if A was at top position until then.
Great. And then I see here as well that using IndexNow does not always guarantee that web pages will be crawled or indexed by search engines. It may take some time for the change to reflect in search engines. So what are you typically looking at from a time perspective for that change to happen? Because it sounds like it's fairly instant, but does that also depend on the site itself?
Yeah, so the first part of the answer cover spam site. So yes, if a spam site is submitting an URL, thank you, but sorry. That's it. This says we will not necessarily call or visit this URL because we do believe that this URL should not be at Bing index because it does not follow the guidelines. If you disagree, you can submit a support ticket and we can review. But the default is, this says we will not follow information on some sites. On some, to answer your question is, this says we are really getting millions of URL coming in. And so we have to triage and pick up the best content from what is coming in. We model their site, what is good and not good. What is good will be indexed in seconds at Bing. It takes really seconds. It's not 1 hour. It's not 1 day. It may be 30 seconds. It may be 1 minute. There is things that depends, but it can go extremely fast. From the time you notify to the time this pages, this URL, you can find it indexed in search engine.
Great. And I also remember seeing actually November 9th, so a little bit over a month ago, Google announced that I don't know if it was an announcement, but it was mentioned that Google is also going to be testing IndexNow. Do you happen to know what's come out of that experimentation? Are they actively still utilizing it or testing it? Any insight on that end?
So the story is that first, IndexNow is open to all search engines. All major search engines having a significant presence in at least one market can collaborate with IndexNow with us to really implement IndexNow. We should see over the following, not over the holidays, but in 2022, we should see far more search engine worldwide supporting IndexNow. This is work is in progress to adopt IndexNow. Second thing is that as part of that, yes, we are collaborating with Google to tell them about IndexNow. They were involved in the early days of IndexNow and are testing and monitoring IndexNow as we speak. So they will do some tests, but I leave to Google to communicate on IndexNow. But yes, communication is happening. They are fully aware of the protocol and are looking at it.
Got you. That's great to know. I can't wait to find out. Did you see a lot more IndexNow adoption happen after Google announced that they were testing it? Or
obviously, the interest is growing, and people are prepping for Google and other search engine, not only for Bing and Yandex, but as the industry is kind of moving toward IndexNow and adopting IndexNow, we will see announcement in 2022, early 2022, about things that we are doing, and some companies announcing support for IndexNow.
okay, great.
Often we want to make it right and perfect on day one. I spoke about this meaningful notification. Do not notify us if a template is changing, things like this. So we are collaborating with content management system and CDN to have only a meaningful notification.
Got you. And again, this is your project, correct? So is this something that you spearheaded or your team?
No, this is really at the end my project, but it's where you are helping the whole industry. So contributing to the whole industry. This is not me. This is we want to fix the problem of stop crawling the internet as much as we do these days, all search engine, because really this is the new generation. 20 years ago, you really don't care so much about fresh content except breaking news things on news website. This day, my teenager cares so much about what's happening right now. They don't care about yesterday. Okay, who care about yesterday? It's all about now. And so this is all about index now. It's all about getting the latest right now index. If there is a new product, they want to be aware of it. If there is a new something, they want to be aware of it. So clearly, this trigger, unfortunately, that without index now, search engine have to crawl far more than in the past to catch up with whatever is happening on the internet. And we should not. We should be guided. Please help us to be guided by adopting IndexNow to tell us what changed on the internet. The benefit is, again, that your new content will be at top position, which is very important, because if you are not there on day one, you are never there, because the people that are at top position will get the visibility, the clicks, the impression, and everything, and we kind of snowball. The ones that are behind, it's really hard to get to top position. Thing number one. And so being first, very important these days in the SEO world. Second thing is that this is helping to remove crawl. We are committing to minimize crawl as we move forward. So great story to have less cost and more customer going to your site. And people see that, people adopting see that, because it makes sense. This is, you get the content index first before your competitors.
I have some additional questions, if you don't mind. So IndexNow, I see on the site everything is URLs. When your URLs are updated, the amount of URLs. Are those URLs split between web pages, image files? Is IndexNow able to identify new image files to help with the image search index within Bing and other engines? Then what about other assets such as video or other files that are out there as well?
Yeah, IndexNow is an URL, only an URL. It can be anything. We recommend for now to submit web pages. Web pages may include link to images, and we will discover as we process the web pages that there is link to images. If we are not aware of these images, we will go to fetch them and process them. So this is recommended to do that. That said, we also support, if you notify an image, we may go to visit this URL to see if this URL is new URL, or if it is updated URL, we will have the same logic that we do for web pages. But to ease adoption into content management system, we recommend for now focusing on submitting web pages, not submitting JavaScript and CSS and all these things for various reasons. This is one is that CSS and JavaScript often are cache and share across pages. So you collect once, you don't need to collect all of them every time. And we see people that are notifying us of the same CSS and JavaScript that do not change. So web pages is a great way to start on IndexNow. You can refine later, but please start by web pages if you have to focus on something.
Amazing. And then the next question I have is the news index utilizing IndexNow
Yes,
as well?
fully.
Okay,
Yes.
good. That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, and I can disclose something that is interesting at Bing and also certainly in other search engines. Same if I don't know, but I think I've got some hint about other search engine. What we see in the search industry is more a consolidation toward one system versus before having different systems. So it means that when you notify Bing, this is the news is just a subset of the overall system. And this is, we do believe this is the same in other search engine. And so this is why there is also so much appealing by other search engine. This is so far they were managing some dedicated data feed all over the place. And this dedicated data feed with partners were going south, broken. This is 10 years old code, difficult to manage. And so by having one system that is IndexNow to be able to notify about new and updated content, this is really simplifying the process of getting this content, of having this process highly monitor per sites. We know what is happening. This is well managed. This is one system to manage all. Way easier to manage for search engine than having this different data feed that were all over the place and unfortunately are broken often, not only on the search engine side, but on the partner side. People are moving in and out. Oh yeah, there was the data feed with Google or Bing, and who knew this process? Oh, I forget to reset the password and so on. And so this is by adopting IndexNow, this is helping to notify the search engine all up. And so search engine can then benefit all up and enable experiences that this is web, news, multimedia, shop, and others, because they get all the content in one place, the freshest content.
Excellent. That's incredibly refreshing, especially with all of the years and all the experiments that have been done on several search engines about updating data feeds, new data feeds. I know shopping, there's multiple different types of data feeds, multiple different attributes. It can get messy from time to time. So if we can have one uniform language or one uniform style of feed or API call to update everything, I think you're definitely on to something.
Yeah, and it's it's also back to the web pages in some shape or form. When you have JSON data feed, XML data feed, who knows what's in it on a daily basis?
Yeah.
Things maybe you may update the database somewhere and you forget to view. It's not easy to view. At the end is when you have something that the customer is viewing on the web page, the customer will alert you if something is broken, if the price is off and so on, or if the text is not well managed. So here, by going back to web pages to process the web pages, and you spoke to schema.org and other schema that you can put these pages, really help search engine to collect and kind of to verify also that whatever they link to, that this is from web or from shop and other vertical, match what customers are viewing. How many ads are misleading because it's something, and when you go to the page, it's not really matching the ads. Here, you can really verify by having a system that is at the end verifying the web page itself and really collecting it as a customer will view it.
Very cool. Very cool. I am really excited to see what happens. And you said there's going to be some announcements in 2022. I'm looking forward to a Shopify app myself, so we can just hit the button within Shopify's backend with some clients and things like that, as well as other cloud-hosted abilities, just to click the button and have it launch. I do have one follow-up question before we sign off. Once I've turned IndexNow on, maybe through the CDN, is there a way to verify that within Bing Webmaster Tools that everything is working correctly? And what's the best way to do so?
True. So we will support, and we do support the ability in Bing Webmaster Tool to see when section is URL submitted. So you should see this URL coming through as part of that. We have still some piping to do for Cloudflare URLs, but we will display them here. So this will be over early January. But yes, you should see this here. You should also monitor your click traffic and impression traffic. That, as I said, may go up. I don't guarantee it. But again, if your index, as I said before, competitors, you should be in top position. Something to highlight also, you say to do something in Shopify and elsewhere. I don't want people to do things. The end goal is that this is built in and notify by default. It should be an opt-out mechanism. So for now, this is fine because we are learning and search engine doing plugins and implemented. This is an opt-in, but at some point it should become an opt-out where the default will be to notify search engine. Because again, most people want to have SEO done by default. They don't want to have specific implementation done to do things. It should be on by default, and then you can opt out if you like.
It's a very good point. It's kind of like when you buy a new computer or upgrade your phone, you have the option whether or not to share the data. I think it's default, but to do so, you can opt out. So by having it, if it truly is part of the infrastructure, shouldn't have to upload something, shouldn't have to do anything. I love that point. Love it. So really excited for 2022 to hear more about IndexNow, any announcements that you all are going to make, anything on the Bing side. Do you have any plans, any good plans for New Year's?
Personally, I will take a break, traveling a little bit to sunshine and to Mexico. I cannot wait to be there. And we are really push the needle via IndexNow and other solution to help our Bing Webmaster and Bing user to find content at Bing and elsewhere. We spoke about all the solution powered by Bing. And this will continue and certainly accelerate in 2022. And IndexNow will be key for that. What we don't want to accelerate is the crawler. We want to slow down crawling, and we want to be notified about what to crawl. Thank you.
Let's make 2022 the year of slowing down crawling and a better crawl budget. So Fabrice, thank you so much. It's really been a pleasure having you on today. Thank you for jumping on midday on a rainy Tuesday to go over this. And for any of you that are listening or watching, well, if you're listening, you can find the video on SEJ's YouTube channel, as well as our Facebook and LinkedIn. Also, if you're listening, make sure to rate our podcast within Apple, Google, or Spotify. We'll take 5 stars to start out with, and then take it from there. Fabrice, it's really been a pleasure. Thank you so much. Thank you to Bing for making this possible as well. This is really exciting. Some of them, I mean, I'm not faking it. I'm like genuinely excited about this from a search perspective. And then also, I'd like to thank our sponsors at SEMrush for making today's show possible. So thank you to the team at SEMrush. Can't wait for you to be partners at IndexNow as well. But Fabrice, it's been a pleasure. Really great having you on again. It's a great way to end the year because this was going to be one of our last SEJ shows of the year. So is there anything else you'd like to say before you sign off?
No, this is thank you. We are here to help the community to get your content index. So please pay attention to IndexNow and please start to work on it today. This is not only for Bing and Yandex. This is all search engine, as I share, are adopting IndexNow. So this is if you have nothing to do over the holidays, please have a try. Call the API. This is super easy to implement. This is 1, 2, 3. You are done. Please have a try.
Awesome. That's how we're going to be spending our holiday week in between, right before New Year's, is crawling, getting the API set up for IndexNow. So thank you so much, Fabrice. Thank you for everyone who's been watching today and listening. It's really been a pleasure. On your behalf, Fabrice Canel from Bing and from Search Engine Journal. Thanks again, and see you on the next SEJ show. Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining us this week on the Search Engine Journal Show. If you liked this episode, subscribe to our channel for so much more and click the notification bell so you don't miss a thing.